Hello and what is up everybody, it's Thunderbob here, and tonight we're going to be checking out Days Gone. This was a PlayStation 4 game that more recently was ported to the PlayStation 5 and released on PC last year. I missed it upon release, it's always kind of been sitting on my wish list, waiting for a decent price, and it's actually gotten down really cheap lately. So I bought it primarily to play on the Steam Deck. I read that it was a pretty good Steam Deck game. It runs really surprisingly well for how good it looks. I played this almost exclusively the 60-hour game on the Steam Deck. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at a couple of minutes of Steam Deck gameplay, showing me taking on a horde, and then we're going to jump over and I'm going to show you some footage from my very high-end PC running an ultra-wide. Going to be talking about my thoughts on the game, what I like about it, the issues I've had, and overall if you should be checking it out. Now to start off, this is the most impressive game I've seen on the Steam Deck. You can see it running here. Generally it gets about 30 to 40 frames per second, even with these huge hordes of zombies on the screen. And very rarely does it drop below 30 FPS. It remains playable. I've put 50 plus hours in this game exclusively on the Steam Deck, and I haven't had a crash, I haven't had any issues. It's just been a really enjoyable experience. And you can see here, this horde is a little overwhelming for me. I didn't really plan, I didn't come with any Molotovs or anything. I really just wanted to show like the performance of getting just completely overwhelmed, and that it's still above 30 FPS even while I've got literally 100 zombies charging at me. It's pretty amazing how good this looks on the Steam Deck. You can see my settings here. I'm running at native resolution with a mixture of medium and high. I do not have FSR running. I'm running at native resolution during this gameplay clip. And I find that really impressive, just how well it runs without even lowering the settings all the way. And now we switch over to the PC, and you can see how well it scales up. This is at 3440 by 1440 running on RTX 3080, and it runs beautifully. I get 100 FPS minimum, and just looks really crisp and vibrant. Runs really well even with huge numbers of enemies on the screen. And some of the areas are just so spectacular. They just have these huge vistas and just amazing landscape and art direction. The world is really the high point here. The Freakers, as they're referred to, are a bit plain, and I believe that's because of the large numbers on the screen at one time. I think having them be a little bit less detailed will probably be what keeps this performing as well as it does. Now, beyond the amazing performance and graphics, it's a fun game. I've enjoyed my time with it, though I'll admit it has a rough start. At the beginning of the game, you really feel weak and vulnerable, which I believe is by design. It takes a very long time to get enough upgrades, skill points, and gear, let alone the skill to take on a large horde. I wish they did a better job at pacing the advancements, as it feels like it's very late in the game when you actually cross that threshold, and you can actually defeat these large groups of zombies, and by that point the game is nearly over. I also feel the story takes a very long time to get going, and could honestly have been improved with a quicker pace and culling some of the weaker points. It does get better as you progress, but the first part in particular is packed with unlikable characters and a really meandering pace that nearly made me stop playing. Part of this is because so much of the game is made up of just a few mission types. The story missions often have more unique objectives, but it never veers too far from the basic tasks of clearing infestations and bandit camps. Then you have this huge map, and frequently you run out and you complete one small objective, and then you have to cross the entire map to turn it in. This is amplified by the limited gas supply, which is also used for the fast travel system. Later you upgrade your bike and your gas tank, and it's a lot less of an issue, but early on it can be very frustrating. Also, while the map is huge, there's very little in it to actually explore and find. You're basically just picking up crafting materials, and I felt like a few unique weapons or upgrades or encounter spread around could have made it a lot more fun exploring. I might sound kind of down on the game, but this is a long game, and once it does pick up, it's a fun ride. I put nearly 60 hours in, and I still have a few dozen hordes, infestations, and bandit camps to complete, so I could easily see going for another 20 hours. The problem is it takes 20 hours really to hit its stride, and it's only the last third of the game in particular that I find really amazing, with tons of interesting world building, story beats, and new characters and locations. By far, my favorite part of the game is the combat. That's why most of this video is showing off my encounters with hordes, as I feel this is the best example of the peak of the gameplay. You need to be careful, you need to set traps, and really use all of the tools the game has taught you in order to succeed. The way the game slows down in the inventory, bullet time, and just the sheer insanity of the size of these hordes makes for some really cinematic and intense fights. I just wish you got to encounter this earlier in the game, rather in the last, 5 to 10 hours of the game. Later in the game, they really give you a huge arsenal of tools and weapons, melee weapons, tons of different guns, bombs, traps, Molotov cocktails, just huge numbers of ways to deal with these hordes. But it's just so long into the game when all of those tools, abilities, skills, weapons come together in a meaningful way that you can actually have a huge amount of fun. It almost feels like Metroid, like at the end of the game, when suddenly you have all of these new abilities. But imagine if you didn't get those until the last 15% of the game, when all you had to do was fight Mother Brain. That's kind of what this game feels like at times. When this game came out, the reviews were quite mixed. I remember a lot of people were complaining about bugs, performance issues, and I think a lot of people probably just fell off of it before it got moving. Now that this has been released on the PC, and especially since the Steam Deck's an option, I think this game deserves another look. And it's only about $20 when it's on sale. I think I actually got it for like $15. The fact that you can play this on the PC and then, save to the cloud and then pick up that same game on your Steam Deck is just amazing. It's such a fun experience to go back and forth and be able to play this portably or on your PC. And I think that this game deserves another look now that it has been patched. It's been released on the PC. It performs better. You've also got portable options for it. And to me, this is a great template for a follow-up for a sequel. I have been reading lately that Sony, I think, does not intend to do a sequel to this, and I'm kind of bummed out. I hope with the huge number of positive reviews and seemingly like the reevaluation it's been getting on the PC, that they might consider, doing a sequel to this. I think that a sequel could really fix a lot of the problems that this game had. It could refine the world, the story, the pacing, while keeping the really fun, horde gameplay, zombie gameplay, and you keep what works and you toss out what doesn't. And I think if they start the game with these tools instead of doing like a reset, if you start off with most of these tools in place and you expand upon them, this would be such a killer experience as a sequel. At this point, I've had a huge amount of fun with it. I can highly recommend to anyone on the PC, especially if you've got a Steam Deck, if you're looking for one of the most graphically impressive Steam Decks games I have ever seen. Definitely check this out. Keep an eye out for a sale. Just be aware, it does take a little while to really shine. Like, you might have to put 5, 10, maybe even 20 hours in to really hit, I think, the better pacing and the better parts of the game. If you can't, wait that out, this game maybe isn't for you. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to end the video here. If you do like what I'm putting out there, please do like, subscribe, drop me a comment with your thoughts, and I just want to thank everyone one more time for watching. Have a great night, everyone.